Hello, wonderful people. Well, today I'm talking about ayahuasca and my life-altering experience. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. If you like this content, please press subscribe and please press like. That'll help me a lot. So, ayahuasca. Maybe you know lots about it, maybe you don't. Maybe you've tried it, maybe you haven't. It really doesn't matter. What I want to do is I want to share with you my particular experience. The reason I'm going to do this is because I heard somebody share their experience the other day. This kind of random guy turned up on my feed. And as he talked about it, I thought, holy cow, that's my experience too. That was my experience once. Okay, once. So I'll tell you about it. So 4 years ago, 4 years ago now, I had the privilege of being taken to a retreat here in Spain by somebody who had already been there. And I met the shaman and spent a weekend experiencing ayahuasca. Okay, it was the first time. And what I found is that ayahuasca is very kind to the people the first time, typically. It's like gently, gently, softly, softly, yeah? And I fell in love with the experience. Why? Because I had the opportunity of trying ayahuasca, which I'd been looking to find a way for a lot of years. And also because the shaman mixed very beautiful music that he played himself and sang. And it was just divine, in my opinion, divine. When you're with the plant medicine, and they call it medicine because it heals, you appreciate music more than you would ever appreciate it in normal life. Words mean so much more. The lyrics to songs just spring to life. They tell you things that even the songs you've heard all of your life, suddenly they go bam, and you think, wow, how did I never see that before? How did I never feel that intention in that song? So I fell in love, and 1 month later I went back. Now that isn't usual. Most people leave a gap for a good reason. But I went back the next month. I was just, oh man, I had to be there. I just knew that there was something important about this experience. So what happened was, the issue that I had was I went into the ayahuasca experience a little bit cocky. I'd had lots of experiences with what we would call recreational stuff earlier. And I thought, even with hallucinogenics, and I thought that I was a past master. Yeah, I thought everything was going to be super duper. I'd had a weekend. Hey, it was okay. But, I'd spent the weekend. I kept my eyes open all the time. I wanted to see. Of course, I didn't realize that if you close your eyes, then it's about a million times more stronger. But anyway, I kept my eyes open all that weekend. It was lovely, but it was all light and groovy and everything was nice. And I remember saying to the shaman that first weekend, as I gave him my little cup, I said, I'm not scared. Okay. So the second month I went back and I had my dose. Everybody goes round in a circle. I had mine. I sat down. I noticed that the shaman had given me quite a lot. Apparently the shamans kind of look at you and they decide how much you want. And so I couldn't drink it all in one go. I had to drink it in 2 goes. Now that would have been a little red flag for me now. So there was quite a lot. So I sat down. I was with people that I knew, certainly on this side. And then we started to just sit and wait. Obviously, what happens is you take it, then the lights go out and there's candles on and everybody's just sitting, waiting to hear the first person vomiting. Because that's when you know. And because it takes a while, it can take about 20 minutes for everybody to get their dose. Then 20 minutes before you notice anything, somebody's already vomiting at the front of the queue. So, not everybody vomits, by the way, but lots of people do. And it's horrible at the beginning. It's horrible. But after a while, it's kind of like, oh, bless them. It's starting for them. So I was sitting, okay? And we were all sitting in the darkness. And suddenly, like 4 doors down, a girl screamed at the top of her voice. And she said, "Ah, my God, something touched me." Right? Now, something touched me. We were in this like dome-like place, and the shaman said, What? She said, "I don't know, something touched me." And he said, "Look, we're in Spain. We're not in the Amazon. We don't have any life-threatening bugs and snakes or whatever. It'll just be a bug." And what had actually happened was, because I saw it when I came in, the roof, it was summer, and the roof had been covered by these like bugs. Like there was loads of bugs on the ceiling. A bug had fallen down and touched her on the arm. So already that we're a bit jittery, all right, when somebody screams and says something touched me. But then, no sooner had we settled down than something fell on my chest. I was sitting like this, nothing. I wasn't aware of any of the effect of ayahuasca. I was just sitting there, and a bug dropped on my chest. So in panic, I swept it off my chest like this. It flew from me onto the neighbour. It was a woman, okay? Esther. And it fell on her. Well, of course, she screamed, and she then brushed it off. So in that moment, I looked down to see if I could see anything. Was it around me? And as I looked up, the world had disappeared. And what I mean by that is that whatever was there in that room had disappeared. And all that I was faced with was a wall of green stuff. Okay? A wall of green stuff. Now, what happens in ayahuasca typically is this. If you have your eyes closed, then you have this really intense experience. I mean, you're just bombarded by stuff. If you have your eyes open, then what you do is you see fractals. There's a lot going on, but you're fully aware that your eyes are open. Your eyes do deceive you, and you do see, somebody walks past, the shadow on the wall looks like a monster. But you've got your eyes open. So I looked up and couldn't see anything. So I opened my eyes and realised that my eyes were already opened. So I closed my eyes, and there was no difference. There was no difference whether my eyes were open or whether they were closed. There was this wall. Let me describe. Imagine standing in front of one of those waterfalls that you sometimes see in restaurants where the water's just coming down the wall, all green and moving like that. And that's not really a good. You can't describe what you see. There aren't words to describe what you see in ayahuasca. But this one was so strong. It was just everywhere I looked, 360, and I was lost. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what was around me, and all I had. Suddenly, I had the desire to be sick. Right. Well, what happens is this: the shaman, when he begins, he hears somebody being sick, and he gets his little Jew's harp out, and he goes, boing, 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 boing. Now that sound, right, is nice when you listen to it in normal life, but when you're with the plant medicine, that sound, if you've had a lot of plant medicine, instantly it feels like somebody's just put the hand down your throat, grabbed your stomach like that, and yanked it out. And so he started going twingy, twangy, twingy, and I thought, wow, I'm going to be sick. So I grabbed the bucket. I found it. I couldn't see where the bucket was, but we know you've kind of landmarked everything before it starts. Grabbed the bucket. I put it between my legs. And I thought, I can't see anything. I don't know where I am. I can't hear anything. I mean, all the sounds are so distorted that it just sounds... The essence of it was, I said, this is what hell is like. I'm in hell. That's what I thought. I'm in hell. The other thought came to me just at the beginning. If I get out of this alive, I am never, ever going to do this again. It was deep regret of what the actual fuck am I doing here? So I had my bucket and I was just being sick and being sick and being sick. When you're being sick with ayahuasca, it actually makes the visuals even more intense. There couldn't have been any more intense anyway, but it was a maelstrom of horrificness. I couldn't think. I was overheating. It was in the summer. I was starting to overheat. I was so hot. I was absolutely raging. I couldn't breathe like this. My head, there was no control. There isn't any control with ayahuasca when you're in the heavy bit. But it's like, imagine the idea of when somebody says that they've gone mad, they have no control over the thoughts. That's where I was. The only thing, there was nothing real except the bucket that I was holding, that was being sick into. And I kind of, there's always, do you know what's really interesting? You know, when we say, well, who is the real me? And there's always that me observer. That observer doesn't go away. It's still there. My observer was still there, saying, and it said, as long as you've got this bucket, you're still in this particular place. Yeah? As long as you've got the bucket, you're still alive. No sooner had it said that, because ayahuasca's got this incredible sense of humour, which is not one that is not funny ha-ha. It's black humour. As soon as the voice said that, the bucket started to melt in my hands. It was just disappearing. I had no sense of touch or anything. Then, because you remember, I'm going through it, so is everybody else. In my experience over the 4 years, and I've gone like twice a year for 4 years, each time I go I do 2 ceremonies, so that's a lot of ceremonies. Every friggin' time, somebody has a bad one. Now, in ayahuasca, you've got the silent people, and you've got the noisy fuckers, okay? And I always pray. I'm a silent one. I'm silent. Don't make a noise. If I'm being sick, I'll just be sick, in a quiet way. And then you get other people who are being sick, and it sounds like a pig being strangled. That's basically, but it's very common. It's like this, because it's coming from the very innards, the very depths of the soul when they're being sick. So there was a woman, and she happened to be there in three retreats that I went to, and I really wish she wasn't there. And she started to do this. Right, that was the noise that she made, over and over and over again. Now the shaman, what he does to help people when they do, in this process, he will do icaros, which are the chanting. He'll do the Jew's harp. He might do a bit of shaky with his stick, okay, at the beginning, during the heavy bit. But he leaves these big silences. The silences were absolutely terrifying for me. Now I love them because it's time for me to go inside and everything. But then it was, especially in that particular moment, the silence was almost like, now we're going to leave you to die. And that's what I felt like, that I was dying, that I was leaving this plane. And this woman was doing this. Now, what was happening to me was she was laughing, and it was a very genuine laugh, laughing. And I was thinking, oh, that's great, there's something funny happened. And then she'd go, like a demon. And I thought, I am in hell. I am in hell, and I am surrounded by demons. And that wasn't like a metaphorical. That's really what I thought. And I thought, I am never going to get out of this. Now, the advice that you get if you're having a bad time is breathe. Right? It's a great advice. I think it's probably the best advice. Keep breathing. But they say focus on your breathing. Focus on your breathing. Okay. That does nothing when ayahuasca's in the bad place. When you does nothing. It just takes your mind off it a bit. But anyway, and they always say all you have to do is remember that every journey has an end. And that is something that I didn't have in my mind. If I'd had that in my mind, perhaps I would have been okay-ish or okay-er. But no, I thought that that was it. I thought it was the end of me. So that was a process that I went through. I was overheating and I was desperately thirsty. Why? Because I just vomited about 75 litres of my body fluids. And I had a you know, the metal tube drinkers, and they've got a little flip top, just flips up and you suck and Bob's your uncle. I could not work out how to flip the top up. I found it. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see anything. I found it. And as I got to it, I was trying to open the top. And I think I was trying to open the top for about 45 minutes without luck. So I put it back down again after that. And I just thought, not only am I going to die and be in hell, I'm going to die also of lack of water, dehydration. So I was there. And what came to me was, we're taking everything off you. So what happens is that you go into this mad bit, mad. And then as the madness kind of subsides or changes frequency, you get these messages. But because I was in such a big journey, the messages weren't great. Normally they're beautiful. It was horrible. And it was just this. We're going to take everything off you. You no longer exist. And the thing that I was seeing just turned into, it was green with zeros and ones. Where have we seen that in the Matrix? That's what I saw. And they said, that is what you are. You are nothing. Right? And that was a bit heavy to take. That was hard for me to, it was like, you are nothing. Don't think that anything about you matters. Don't think that anything about you is important. You are nothing. And that was this mega, and it was kind of like, it was my death. I died and I went to base, I suppose, to zeros and ones. That was the experience. It went on for a fucking eternity. It was endless. Finally though, bit by bit, I started to come back. And the shaman was there playing music. I didn't even know he was playing music. I didn't know what was happening. And then I came back and I thought, oh my God, I'm here again. Thank God. Honestly, it was like I've been resurrected. I was dead and I've been resurrected. It was as extreme as that. But what was the most interesting part of it was when I came back, I had a totally different outlook on life. It was like, nothing is important. That's what I thought. Not in a bad way. You know, these days people take photographs of the breakfast and they post it up there. Or they'll take photographs of, a tooth that their son's just had removed, and it's fallen out. Look, his first tooth out and everything, and everyone's going, oh, that's lovely and all of that. When I came back, my mind was just going, what a big pile of fucking rubbish that is. What a waste of time. What a waste of energy. What a waste of this experience. Doesn't matter. Okay, so much, I felt so much like that I'd been reduced to the very base of who I might be, that I didn't want to talk. To me, it seemed surplus to requirements to start talking. And I remember going outside, I was sick outside again, and I was just sitting on the step, and one of the ladies that were there, lovely lady, she came and sat down. Well, she was still in her, ayahuasca, post-ayahuasca high. And she was saying, I want to talk to you about this. What do you think? And she was going into all of these kind of, metaphysical things. And I was just looking at her. And she was chatting away. I think she wanted to talk more than listen. which was fortunate because I didn't want to talk. And at the end, she did this big long thing and she said, so tell me, what do you think? And I said, I don't think it matters. And then I went away. I walked away. And she must have thought, oh, how rude, how very rude. And it was, but at the time, that's exactly what I thought. What are you talking about? What does it matter? When you've seen what I've seen, you wouldn't, if you'd seen what I've seen, you wouldn't be talking about rubbish like this. And that's exactly how I felt. And then I went and I found a room on my own. I lay there and I cried for a good while. And I kept saying to Pachamama, ayahuasca, the medicine, I kept saying, that was too much. That was too much. That was too much. And it was just, I kept saying it over and over again. I couldn't say anything else except, that was too much. That was too much. I can't handle that. That's too much. Okay. Got up in the morning. We had you have like a group chat where everybody tells their bit of a story and everything. I tried to say something and I just was in tears. I couldn't speak. I couldn't enunciate, nor did I really want to. But I tried and I just broke into tears. I made this big mistake of phoning my wife and she said, how did you do? And I said, well, last night I nearly died. Okay, I meant it in a metaphorical way, a spiritual way, a Zen Buddhist way. But what she heard was, I nearly died last night. And so she instantly took a dislike to ayahuasca. Then, to make matters worse, when I got home, I was telling her about the experience and I was crying. And then, not only that, but I was crying off and on for the next 3 months. Off and on. I would go to the countryside, I would talk to the medicine because it was still with me so strongly, and I would be crying and saying, I don't know what I've got to do, I don't know what I've got to do, I don't know what I've got to do. And what's interesting was, just at that time, during that period, I didn't know what I had to do. I felt so like it was almost like taking the essence of me, throwing it up in the air. That's where I was. And I was thinking, I don't know where I'm going to fall. Where am I going to fall? How am I going to be put back together? And it was at that time when I started saying to the universe, show me, tell me, guide me. You show me what I have to do. Okay, because I was lost. I was lost. And I really thought something had been broken. I thought something in me had been broken. And I was worried. After 3 months, everything settled down. And I started to be able to get a sense of what actually happened. So lots of people talk about the ayahuasca experience, you know, the death and the rebirth. The death of the ego, they might call it, which isn't the death of the ego. It's almost like a resurrection, a death of the old ego and the resurrection of the new ego, because the ego is always with us. From that moment, my life changed completely. From that moment, really just shortly afterwards, in meditation, the emissaries came to me. Shortly afterwards, I started to do these kind of videos. Really, and since then, I've faithfully gone back because to the retreats, because I truly believe that, you know, ayahuasca's got a bad rap. It really has. It gets a bad rap because you know, we know what this world's like. Anything that's going to elevate you spiritually, anything that's going to take you to realms that they don't want you to go to have information that they don't want you to have understandings that they don't want you to have, they are going to badmouth it. If the media badmouths something, it's probably good. If the media tells you that something is the dog's doings, it's probably not. So that was the biggie for me. Since then, I have never taken as much as that one. I don't need to. I'm aware now. I'm extremely sensitive to ayahuasca. I have a tiny bit. I have a beginner's dose or less. And that absolutely gives me a beautiful night with beautiful insights. And it's still intense. It's still mega intense, but it's at a different level. You know, I know when my eyes are open and when they're closed. Thank God. Yeah. So I have seen people change with ayahuasca. I've seen them mature. I've seen them center themselves. I've seen them lose addictions, come out of depression. There's just, you know, and I've heard obviously lots of anecdotal stories about these incredible improvements, like people going who've got terrible cocaine addiction, they go there and then in the morning it's done, you know. And since ayahuasca, I stopped my addiction to alcohol, and that was a biggie for me. It was a lifelong addiction to alcohol, and ayahuasca helped me to stop it. I know it did, because I went there specifically and I asked for help and I got it. Is it a magic potion? No. You still have to do the work. Ayahuasca tells you what you have to do and it will help you, but you've got to do it. It's not a magic bullet. It's not what the modern medicine sells. You take that and just, you know, and that'll be it. No. It's a mental process. It's not for the faint-hearted. There is nothing recreational about ayahuasca. Nothing. It is zero recreational. Yes, afterwards it's a beautiful, you know, if you've got a nice shaman, he plays nice music, oh, it's lovely. But the actual event is not recreational. It's hard work, and you are shown things about yourself that you will not like. Ayahuasca has shown me things and I've been horrified. I've been angry. I've been telling it to F off because I didn't want to see them. And yeah, it just goes. It's hard work. However, the way I see it, one night with ayahuasca, if you really want help, if you really want to improve yourself, is a year's worth of therapy, if not more. Ayahuasca is incredible. If it's your pathway, if it's your journey. If it isn't, no, definitely not. Frighten the shite out of you. It will frighten the tits off you. So don't do it unless you have a really good reason to do it. Okay? Just to have a bit of fun, definitely don't do it. If you want to have a bit of fun, take something else. Do not go to an ayahuasca retreat for a bit of fun. Go there if you want to improve your life, if you want to change your life, if you want to really find yourself, if you want to find your purpose. Yeah, but not for fun. There you are. I hope you've enjoyed that. That was my experience and I shall continue having them. Inshallah. I love you all and I'll see you all soon.